Up next, we are going to join the router and the sled. To do that, we're going to lift our router here and tangle a little bit. To do that, we're going to lift our router here, and we're going to drop the two sides with linear bearings down like that. And then underneath, we have our Z-axis stepper motors. We're just going to turn those by hand to lower the whole thing down. Up next, we're going to make our linear supports, which will add a little bit of extra support to the top of the linear bearings. We're going to do that by bolting them in like this. So we're going to add nuts, add the top piece, and then we'll throw a bolt in there. And I like to do it where I'll get all the bolts in, and then I'll go around and tighten them all up once they're all in place. Finally, to install the uprights here, basically they just slot into place on top of the post here. And then there's 6 bolts along the bottom here. Doesn't want to focus on it, but they're there. And just like in the past, we're going to use a regular bolt and a nut. And we're going to drop the bolt down from the top, feed the nut up from the bottom. And we're going to get them all started and then come back around and tighten them up. Now we're going to do the electronics. So up first, we're going to take our cooling fan here and our dust cover here, and we're going to put these two together. And the exact orientation of the fan in here doesn't matter. This cable's long enough to reach from anyway, but I like it like this. And then we're going to take 4 of our regular lock nuts. We're going to place them in these recesses here, and 4 of our regular bolts, and bolt those together. Next, we're going to plug our fan assembly here into our controller board. And the fan will plug into the only plug that it fits into, which is this one right here. And then we're going to place our cover on top of our controller board. And you'll see that there are 3 mounting holes here on the controller board, and those will line up with these 3 mounting holes here on the cover. One other thing to check is just to make sure that your fan wires are not going to get hit by the fan when it spins. So it can help just to give the fan a little bit of a jiggle, make sure the wire isn't in there in such a way that it's rubbing. Now it's time to bolt this onto the top here. We're going to do that with 3 of our non-locking nuts and 3 of our regular bolts. And I like to just put a tiny little drop of super glue on these nuts before this step, because if you ever take this apart, the nuts will fall out, and it's just nice to have them held in place there. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop that nut in here, hold that with one finger, I'm going to place the cover on top here, and I'm going to drop a bolt through the top of the cover there. Get it to go in the hole. There we go. And then I'm just going to use the screwdriver to join these two halves together. Now we're going to do the same thing for the other two bolts. And then I'll just go around one more time to fully tighten everything up. Looks great. Now we can plug our 4 motors in. They each plug into the port which is closest to them. We can plug our 2 stepper motors in. Again, they each plug in on their respective side. And finally, well, not quite finally, almost finally, we can take our 4 encoder wires and plug them in to our arms here. And again, they plug into the port which is closest to them. And with all of these connectors, it's important to make sure that they all go fully in. When the connectors are brand new, they can be a little bit stiff and it can take a little bit of extra effort to fully press them together. So just give them an extra little press to make sure that they're completely seated. Finally, we can plug in our power cord, and we're done. I like to put a little zip tie right here that connects the power cord from the Maslow to the power cord from the router. I think it just helps with the cable management a little bit. Other than that, we have fully assembled our Maslow 4.